All right. We're going to leave the door open, have our adoring fans come
Yeah,
in for
this is going to be a
episode.
live studio session.
Yes.
We're going to have fans in the room with us.
They're all over the floor.
Yeah, right now they're
splayed.
Splayed on the floor. It's a little bit weird. But, who am I to judge?
He just wants cuddles.
Okay, well, I don't know you.
I didn't talk about me. I was talking about the cat.
I mean, I do know you, but...
What?
He's not a cat. He's our fan. Oh. Shh, Ryan, stop.
I love our fans.
Spilling our secrets.
He's so cute. Look at him.
Yeah.
Look at him.
I just want to give him kisses.
Yeah. And Busby somewhere.
Having a snizzle attack.
Yeah. Hopefully he's okay. You ready to get going, Bean Beans?
I guess.
I guess.
I guess I am.
You're gonna do that impression throughout the entire episode, aren't you?
Welcome to another episode.
I knew it.
Of Scurvivor.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Scurvivor Series, the only podcast hosted by us. I'm Ryan Knightsey. With me, as always, is my wife, Jessie Dubiowski. Jessie, how are you doing on this fine Sunday night?
Well, I'm doing all right, I reckon.
I knew for a fact that you were going to do that bit the entire time. And you blow out the microphone every time you do it.
All right, then I'll just put my microphone a little bit lower then, won't you?
It is, bruv.
It is, bruv.
Yeah, can you add more bruvs in that for me? I would appreciate it.
Sure, bruv.
There it is.
Can do that for you, bruv.
All right, isn't it?
Isn't it, bruv?
Oh, it's a doozy. It's a doozy. I hope everyone's having a good day today. We're recording this Sunday night for your fine ears Monday morning, or I guess whenever you're listening to this. We are here talking about season 46 of Survivor on Scurvivor Series. In today's episode, we're talking about episode 4, Don't Touch the Oven. And was that snore because this episode was a snore?
A little bit. Actually, honestly, I think people probably thought it was more boring than the last one. I thought the last one was pretty damn boring.
I think, yes.
I think this was a little more interesting.
I think this was more interesting in sort of an aggravating
There's
way.
a little more drama, a little more cringe.
Yes. Yeah, I would agree with that. Last episode was more boring. This episode is like, oh boy, this was a very controversial episode of television. According to all the Survivor fans that I saw online. We'll get to our thoughts on it. But yeah, I mean, it's basically, if you've seen the first 3 episodes of this season so far,
you know what's going to happen.
Pretty much. Like the moment, I think I kind of talked about this last episode of just like, Bono's not going to be out of the woods. It's assuming they're going to go to tribal again. Like it's just going to be him. So, guess what? That's what happens. Spoilers, I guess. But if you're listening to this, I assume you've already been spoiled. Any thoughts up top overall of this episode, other than it was at least interesting, just in a not great way, I guess, is the best way to say it?
It was a little bit cringe at points, but there was drama.
There was drama.
Sort of. There was emotion. Mm-hmm. And... there was
lots of emotion.
There was I'm glad it's over.
Yes.
And we can move on.
Yes. I think
no offense to Banu, but I'm glad we can move on
from Banu. I agree. I mean, I saw some people say that Yanu suffered from 3 day 1 votes all in the same tribe of Jelinski, Jess. And by the way, I don't know if you saw Jess, apparently she was suffering from sleep deprivation. Uh-huh. Apparently she didn't sleep the week leading up to the show for whatever reason. So she was not having, so she came into the show already sleep deprived. And then everything happened after the fact. And then Banu, an emotional wreck the entire time, finally goes home in episode 4, which, to be fair to Banu, would have been episode 3. And to be fair to all the people watching the show, would have been episode 3 if Randon didn't sleep on bamboo too hard. But alas.
Yeah, well.
Should we get to it? Should we get through this episode? I think to be fair, I think this episode has more overall conversations to be had about Survivor than this episode itself.
Yeah, I feel like last episode was kind of like, what do we talk about? There is not much. And here I have at least 4 good quotes from this episode that had me cackling.
This was a very funny episode, I thought. There was a lot of moments that were quite funny. We'll get to those as we go along here.
I can't wait.
So let's start off with Yanu. Of course, it's the post-Randon evac. I didn't know entirely, but I think it felt to you as well, like immediately after Jeff comes in to tell them, oh, we're done. Randon's been pulled. It feels like pretty much immediately. Kenzie is pulled for an interview. She's saying that she's optimistic about Yanu turning this around. And basically, as she's doing her interview, Banu tells Q and Tiff about telling the other tribes what he said on the journey and completely tells them. Tiff reacts towards Banu like, yeah, I was hoping you wouldn't have told him that. And then in the interview, her response is literally, boy, what? Like her ability to keep it together in front of Banu was masterful, to say the least.
Which is like, at this point, I'm sure her patience has worn thin.
Yes.
I was impressed with the way that she held it together there.
Tiff and Q go off to have a conversation. Tiff is pissed. Q says, quote, back to plan A. Tiff says in an interview, says she would have been pissed if she found out after voting out Kenzie, which to me, I sort of read as she was going to possibly vote out Kenzie. Because if we recall, the idea going into the tribal would have been Banu versus Kenzie, and Q was trying to heavily sway Tiffany to vote out Kenzie instead. And the fact that they said, at least Q said back to plan A, made me, obviously, if Q immediately be like, I'm voting out Banu. And when it came to Tiff, it was like, oh, if she could have been swayed. We don't entirely know if she was going with Kenzie, but at this point, it was all gone. It had to be Banu.
Well, yeah, and it felt like she definitely was seriously considering Kenzie.
Yes, at the very least.
Yeah.
It was a maybe even it could have even been a coin flip. You know, at a minimum, I think it would have been a coin flip. Because she was seriously considering it.
It's not anymore.
Not anymore.
Which we'll get to this, but I disagree with.
Tiff tells Kenzie about what Banu said, about how she's the mastermind of this whole tribe. And Kenzie, of course, is upset about that as well. Is there anything before we get to the Yanu? Because next up is just tree mail, and then we go, which we learn next challenge is going to be a food reward challenge. Soda's excited about this and improvises a song with Tevin. Then we get some Sega stuff before the reward challenge.
My only thought before we get to the tree mail, I just wrote, things are woof.
Things are woof in that tribe.
I don't remember exactly what this was in reference to because I didn't write it down. Cause
you write the quotes down in the moment.
Yeah.
So somewhere around here, things are
woof. And I wrote something. Banu takes no charge. Like, I think this was him going around to, like, ask people to help him. No, or was this before when he was just like, work with me or something?
Mm-hmm.
Basically, like, he doesn't. Oh, no. Was this when he was praying on the beach, maybe?
I don't know exactly.
He does this thing where he's like, I think it was him praying on the beach of, like, give me, like, this, give me a win or whatever. It's like, there's this whole thing, and we've had this conversation about, like, different aspects of life and certain points of view of life of, like, you know, I don't knock prayer and, like, you know, asking for help.
Yeah.
But when your prayer is phrased like, do the thing for me.
Yes.
That's not even what, like, growing up, like, in a church, that's not what even what I was taught. It's like, you know, it's just this idea that I just have to ask for things to happen to me.
And things will because God provides. Or gods, or, whatever.
Yeah, but that's not how it works. And, like, whether or not you believe in God or, like, religion or whatever, it's not how it works. Well, it's like there is an aspect of, like, asking for things, but, like, it translates to his personality, how he's playing the game of, like, I am waiting for things to happen to me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do anything about it. I'm going to, like, let other people do things for me. Or, like, I'm going to let other people, decide to work with me.
Yeah.
I'm going to let other people, like, show me what to do. He doesn't take charge. He doesn't have, like, an aspect of the game, like, that is just, let me do these things. Or, like, I don't know. It's different if he's when he was asking for, like, a sign of, like, that's something different. Like, a sign is, like, here's a moment for you to take, like, the opportunity.
Yes.
And even then, he still didn't do it. Like, he got his prayer, but he didn't do it.
Yeah.
Because there has to be an action on your end.
Yes.
And, like, that translates to his personality of, like, not taking action.
Yes. Because... and welcome, of course, to Theological Corner with Ryan and Jess. I
could get deeper into this.
This is our Inside Scurvivor Series podcast, which is a podcast that only exists within the Scurvivor Series episode. Theologic Corner with Ryan and Jess. Because what that does is, like, because I've always viewed prayer as sort of a way to be, like, hopefully optimistic about an outcome of something. Like, the idea of prayer to me is that you are hoping for good to happen to you, someone else, what have you. Right? Like, so there's a hopeful optimism to it. And when you turn prayer, or at least the idea of using prayer as solving problems, not only to me is that defeating the purpose of prayer, but also it is defeating the purpose or the ideals of free will, of getting rid of.
Yeah.
I no longer have the responsibility of my actions or even need to act on anything because God, and specifically to bring it back to the show, is this idea of other people will solve my problems for me, whether it be God or whether it be in the show Q, Kenzie, or Tiff.
Yeah, and, like...
Which, to be fair, he doesn't have a vote, so he really can't do anything. So
but
it really is other people have to do them. Yes.
It's been the whole game. And this could be, like, in terms of, like, the prayer aspect, a cultural difference of, like, how he may see what God is to him,
This is fair. We were both raised Catholic, that should be noted. We were both raised Catholic. He is obviously not Catholic, to my understanding, so there are definitely potential cultural differences that we're talking about.
But it doesn't change the fact that it translates to how he's playing this game.
Yes.
But the way he approaches, like, prayer is, do this thing for me.
And I will reward you with love. Or, reward God
I'll be
with
loyal.
Something.
I'll be loyal. Like, that is him.
And
that's what he said in the game is, like, do this thing for me, I'll be loyal. But at what point are you taking responsibility and taking charge for the things that you do? Because it could go the other way too, is, like, you could easily say, I'm not responsible for these things because I didn't do that stuff happened. But, like, it just... So
let's bring it back to Survivor real quickly. Easy answer. If how he approaches his prayer lifestyle, and this is a lot of judgment perhaps.
No, but this is, like, what I observed from him praying on the beach is, like,
it's fair.
This is an ingrained, like, personality, like,
yes,
way of living. Like, this is how he approaches things.
I think it's completely fair and on the table to discuss because it's part of the show. And a part of his character is prayer.
Right. I don't think we're making a generalization about his religion.
Agreed.
I'm not trying to do that. I'm trying to, like, tie the observation of how he was
how he prayed and this
on the beach
and the 7th tribe member of God and how his relationship with God is played through the show. If you are doing the one-to-one similarity of his relationship with God and prayer to how he plays Survivor, who is God on his team to answer his prayers? Q is God. Q is God, folks. God, we have also a good title for the episode, but Q is God is also right there.
Tim takes a big dump is really
I know. Tim takes a big dump is really good, but Q is God. Q is the one.
Q is that relationship of like, this is who I reach out to show me what to do.
If I answer your prayers, I expect loyalty in return, which is the exact sort of relationship that Bonnie was sort of setting up in his prayer, in his comments. There's moments where he's cursing at God literally in this episode, but this idea of Banu wants his problem solved and in turn will give loyalty. Q is the only one that accepts that offer.
Yeah.
Not even God accepts that offer for Banu.
That's so harsh to say. Maybe it was an answer that he got voted off. Maybe that's because maybe Survivor isn't what he needed right now.
I agree.
Let's just put it at that. And there.
That has been Theological Corner with Ryan and Jess. We get some tree mail. We get the news that's going to be a reward challenge for food. Soda is excited and improvises a song at Siga. Everyone is excited for food. Jem says no one knows that she has the beware advantage.
Whoa. You're speeding along, man.
Sorry. There was nothing that really happened at Nami that I thought was interesting.
You didn't get that whole cut of how Soda's talking about how she's group morale for everyone and Hunter, except for Hunter, because Hunter is like actively annoyed. They would do like Soda like pumping. She's like, I'm group morale for everyone. Keeps cutting to Hunter like rolling his eyes and like standing behind a tree and like, ugh.
So over this.
So over it. She's group morale for everyone except Hunter.
Hunter's not buying it. So yes, that happens at Nami. At Siga, everyone's excited for food. We get the reveal that Jem, who got the beware advantage last episode, that leads to that idol, no one knew that she had it. So what she did was she re-hid the beware advantage. But she re-hid it in a different spot. So because when whoever gets the beware advantage, which as we come to find is Maria, the beware advantage tells them you have to dig right below where this is.
Such a villain.
So because Jem has hid this beware advantage somewhere else, which by the way, I think she's relinquishing the beware advantage, but only she knows the actual location.
So who doesn't have her vote? Because one, it says if you take this you question. Must do it, right? Yes. But if she gives it to somebody else, does Maria technically now possess the beware advantage?
Because on our global.tv voting thing, it's arguing that Maria gained an advantage this episode. She gained a beware advantage. The problem is she gained it in the wrong spot, so she doesn't know where to dig up. So the question is completely where you're right. Who has a lost vote? Is it Maria, who is currently in possession of the beware advantage, which allows you to lose your vote? Or is it Jem, who kind of, as we saw, might have relinquished it?
Here's the thing, though.
But she also opened it. When you open it is when you get the news about it. So
right.
This is I don't know.
So like,
and I didn't see any chyrons that explained it.
Yeah, because it's the question of that plus like when they do lose and they go to find it, like who finds the idol?
Presumably the key will be
Jem.
Yeah, presumably the key will show up where Jem found the beware advantage, assuming she remembers where that is, so that then she can open up the box that she also re-hid.
I guess we'll find out. I'm confused about like who doesn't have their vote.
Yes, me too.
And I wonder if they planned for anything like this to happen. I'm sure they did. They must have.
Jem certainly has.
I mean,
she literally has her tribe going on a wild goose chase.
She's like the happy little villain.
They immediately start digging up this tree, and they discover an ant colony.
And she's
ecstatic. She's like, this is hilarious. And she literally says, I'm here to have fun.
Yeah, she's such a happy little villain. I love it. I'm here for it.
Yeah, I love it. Ben first is the one that pitches this idea that maybe someone has it already, has the beware advantage already, or the idol, whatever, already. Everyone laughs. This is an idea that becomes sort of a through line for Siga for the rest of the episode, and seemingly based on the preview, what will be talked about next week as well is this idea of, I think someone might be playing us. There is no way that this thing is hidden this well or dug this very deep. So that's the through line for Siga this episode. It's day 8. Did
it say what they were looking for? Or did it just say dig below this spot?
I think it was basically dig below this spot.
She should have put something stupid like a coconut there. And then they would have tried to crack open the coconut.
She should have put something stupid. She should have put a fake idol. She should have got some of those beads together that everyone does and created a fake idol. Then someone would have dug up and have a fake idol, and then people would immediately gun her because that's a target, and it would be useless. It would suck. She would have to try to get someone to find that beware advantage, which Maria ended up finding, and I don't know if that's necessarily someone that she wants to get rid of, but that's what she should have done. This is very funny. This would have made great television, but she should have done a fake idol. That would have been the smart play. But maybe she didn't have enough time. These people hang around each other all day. So.
I know. They're like in one big happy family all the time. Like, how has no one snapped yet?
Yeah, every time I look at Tim, he always feels like he's the one that would be closest to snapping, but he's never the one. He's always there, you know?
He always, like, I don't know. I feel like he's the least enthusiastic of them.
Yes, I agree.
But maybe that just means he's like, I was going to say calm, but then I remember the challenge.
What?
I was going to say maybe he's the calm one, and then I remember him floundering about
I cannot hear a single word you're saying, Jess. What are you saying? When
he was flopping about on the platform. And
you mean later in the episode twice?
Twice?
Well, we'll get to that first one. The reward challenge for fish. You have to paddle a boat, get a key on a little platform, unlock 4 rings. Each player has to get the rings over a pole. Then you have to dig under a little like pole thing underneath the sand. We've seen that gimmick before. Then one person has to throw more rings onto something. Basically, the idea is each player is responsible for 1 ring at the first half of the competition, of the challenge, I should say. But at the end, anyone can throw the rings. The sit-outs of this challenge were Venus, Ben, and Mariah. What did you think of this challenge?
I thought it was funny how Jeff does not know how to respond to Ben's enthusiasm. Ben is just like, all right, man, like this is gonna rock or whatever. And Jeff's like, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
Man. Cool. All right.
He doesn't know what to do with it. Cracks me up.
Tim, like you said, Tim is very much struggling at the key.
He is struggling to get the damn key. This is his first encounter with a platform in the water.
Yep.
Platform wins.
Yep.
Platform for the most part. And he takes a big dump, according to Jeff.
Yes, the full quote, Tim. What's the full quote,
Tim
Jeff?
takes a big dump.
Tim takes a big dump. Good one-liners from Jeff this episode.
I just think that... Was this when... No, the other one was Mariah not knowing how to jump.
Correct. Correct. The big moments from this episode or this challenge was Maria struggling on Siga extremely hard to get the ring over the pole. She ends up doing it, which is good for her, but she does do it. And the obvious big thing is Yanu eventually wins this reward challenge.
I think I liked the thing about like when they have those things of like every team member has to do this thing, because it kind of, I mean, it can sink one team, which it did, but it can also level the playing field a little bit of like when you have stuff like that and you have someone like Hunter who just nails it.
It fully allowed Yanu to pick up a win.
Yeah, because you had this one point where like your whole team has to each do this thing, like can make or break your team in this challenge. And it helps when like, you know, you may not have a Hunter on your team. Well, they do kind of. The thing is, Yanu does have Tiff and Q, who are like very athletic, very good at these challenges, worked very well together, and they're really good at bringing like, and Kenzie's really good at like working with them.
Yeah, she's good support.
Yeah. Then there's Banu. But
he helped. He was part of this.
Like, they're not an unathletic team. They're not, it's not that they're bad at working together. It's just that they have, I don't want to say dead weight, but they did have 3 people that were kind of dead weight.
I agree.
And they're kind of trying to bring these people along. So I think in this sense where their tribe is smaller, it kind of actually worked in their favor that every single person had to do this thing, because all they needed was one person on the other team to be bad at it.
Yes. Which, as we saw with Siga, that was Maria.
She flung her body before she flung the thing.
Yes. Which
poor Maria.
That theme of flinging your body before anything else happens of Mariah later in the episode about jumping.
Poor Maria. But, you know, she pushed through, and I really admire how she kept going. Like, they were basically losing, but she pushed through and she kept doing it, and she like was obviously so frustrated, but was still able to take like notes from her team. Like, it's really hard at that point when you're like defeated and you're like, I'm the last one. Like, for her to just like listen to Charlie, who was just like, take a few steps forward, like walking her through it, and she did it.
She didn't let her emotions get in the way here.
Yes.
Sorry, Banu.
No, but I was really impressed with how like she handled herself, and like, because it's really easy to be frustrated and flustered and to give up, or to just, you know, try to power through and not listen to anybody.
Yeah.
But the fact that like she was visibly upset, they were very far behind, and she was the one holding them up, but she still was able to listen to her team and take that note, and make that adjustment, and they were able to push through.
And they were able to support her.
So. Yeah. And I think that's like a huge thing that I think, you know, is not an easy thing to do. Anyway, I wanted to point that out.
I agree.
Good job, Maria.
Yanu eventually gets the win. I wrote down here that Q was the one that threw all the rings up. So I wrote down Q doesn't fumble. He gets a little redemption here for himself. Yanu wins. Nami gets second. Yanu, because they don't have the flint, the fish is utterly useless to them because they can't cook it. So instead, they trade the fish for a tarp and a toolkit, which they promptly then put on their, the tarp, I should say, on their gimmick. Well, what's their
shelter?
Thing? Shelter, thank you. And that's it. And that's the reward challenge. At Nami, Liz is excited to eat fish because she can actually eat fish. Because if we recall, she's allergic to pretty much everything. Tevin gives his backstory about his dad. There's a very touching moment of backstory where he explains that his dad passed away 10 months before the show started, that they were very close, that his dad taught him how to clean fish, and so this was his first time since his father's passing that he was able to clean fish on his own, and so he did it to provide for his tribe, which is a very perfect character growth moment immediately. And backstory exposition tied into the actual contents of what's happening on the show.
So sweet.
There was a line in there that Tevin had that he said that his dad called him every day, and the hardest thing.
Oh my God. The
hardest thing was the next day when he doesn't get a phone call.
That wrecked me.
Yeah, that's a tough.
That was heartbreaking. Like.
That's a tough line. That's a tough to hear one. That's really...
But he's so good at delivering it.
I know.
It's like it's so sad, but also like
he has such poise in everything he does right now that I really admire from someone. Have you ever? I mean, so far I've not seen Tevin flustered at all about anything.
To be fair, they haven't really lost yet.
Also true, but he
has not really been tested.
That's true. But even talking about his father, something he was super close with 10 months prior of passing, he was able to tell that story very well, very succinctly, without becoming like overwhelmingly emotional. I'm sure he was emotional, you know what I mean? But he was able to keep his composure, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And I admired that. Because I wouldn't have. Jesus Christ, those lines, I wouldn't have kept my composure.
So heartbreaking.
We go to Yanu next. Tiff is excited about winning. Q wants to vote Banu, but he still wants to coach him. He still needs to be his god, his savior.
Camp Q.
So we get a Camp Q moment, a hilarious bonding/coaching moment where he tries to train him. He tries to do some like PR question training on Banu, asking him various stuff, and Banu having to give succinct answers that don't give away information. So we get a nice little bonding moment. He's like, you don't have to tell Jeff all the truth. You can lie to Jeff, or you can still be very, brief in your responses to Jeff. You don't have to give all your answers, which does come back a little later in a weird way. But yeah, we get a little Camp Q action here. Banu asks Kenzie for help, and she declines sort of abruptly, and she says in an interview that she doesn't want to baby him. We'll put a pin in that, and we'll talk more about Banu and that babying stuff in a moment because it comes. Oh no, let's just talk about it here. I think now is just a good time. So we cut to Siga, but we'll get to that in a moment. But ultimately, Siga is just more people are upset about the Beware advantage and that they think it's public and they can't find it. And people think Tim planted it. Anyways, back to Yana.
Well, I just need to put in there the real summary of Siga is they dug so hard and they got so far.
But in the end,
it doesn't even matter.
Whoa.
Anyway.
Yes, they think Tim planted it. So, and Jem is doing well at playing along. Back to Yanu. Banu feels very disrespected in this moment about what Kenzie's snapping at him. But what I found interesting about Banu's sort of whiny baby stuff here, is that he talks about one of the things he complains about, and one of the things that I felt like he was like really complaining about, like he was upset Kenzie snapped at him, but he was also really complaining about people feeling the need to come over and teach me how to act, and that I have to be some sort of robot and do what they say. So in this moment, he is complaining about Q, someone that actively is trying to help him get better at this game. Kenzie snapped at him, that's whatever. But he is also, and a lot of the conversation that he has complaining is about Q, not about Kenzie.
Yeah, it's weird that the way that he, like, complains is not the way that he's playing the game. Like, he was like, I had so much power in the game.
Yeah.
When?
Yes. There was a moment when he says, I had so much power. And
when did you have power in this game?
I paused the episode and turned to you and I put my hands up and I said, when did Banu have power in this game? You could, I guess, argue the end of the last episode, beginning of this episode, when Randon went home and he thought that Kenzie was gonna go home at Tribal.
He didn't have any power in that situation. He had no vote.
Correct.
He had zero power in that situation.
That was Q and Kenzie making that call.
Q and Tiff making that.
Yes, Tiff. My apologies.
Like, they don't respect you. You're acting like a child.
So what other moment does Banu think he had power if it's not that moment? I think that's what he's talking about. But
the only other time would be when Kenzie came up to him and Jess and asked if they wanted to work with her.
But he said no.
He said no.
So he didn't get any power from that. I think the first moment Banu had power in this game is when Kenzie, Q, and Banu were talking about whether or not they should vote out Jess or Jelinski, right?
Yeah.
And Banu was there in between Tiff and Q.
Just nodding.
And said, I think that is also a good idea in response to Tiff. I think he thought he had power in that moment when that conversation.
It was two people having a conversation in front of him. It was not him being involved in that conversation.
And him interjecting with not like any opinion that we saw
just
on
like,
who should vote
good
for.
idea. Oh, Q isn't it? Yes, good idea.
Yes, just supporting whoever was talking. Banu never had control of any part of his own game in this show. Yet he believes he did. And like I said, he's complaining about Kenzie being mean to him. He's complaining about Q turning him into a puppet. He doesn't really complain about Tiff, really, here. But I think Tiff is just like there as a part of that group.
But when... but... So...
a lot of words and then letting out breath in this moment.
Yeah, that's my thoughts on that.
Yeah. Ultimately, Kenzie tries to be the better person, goes to apologize to Banu. Banu forgives her. And that's the end of Yanu before the immunity challenge.
Well, yeah. And Banu says, I need to put some effort in.
Yes.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Everyone's been saying that.
The whole damn time.
With it day 8?
Glad you're finally realizing it.
Yeah, I agree. We go to Nami next. Soda says that she's in a solid 3 with Hunter and Tevin. But she still says that, but you need to still work the tribe and make sure you're on everybody's thing. Tevin says, I don't really like how she's working the tribe and still talking everybody. I think that she's overplaying this game, whereas Soda's perspective was, I'm just playing the game. Tevin thinks that she's overplaying it because there's no need for her to do that. And so he's starting to think maybe she's talking behind my back. So Tevin pitches to Hunter that maybe they should vote out Soda. Hunter is like, yeah, Tevin, that's a great idea. Because Hunter was already looking at Soda as one of his first targets. Yeah. Knowing that Tevin pitched the idea first, he's like, great, Tevin, you can do that. I'm fine with that. They talk to Liz. They both of them, or really Tevin's the one pitching the idea to Liz. Liz agrees that Soda would be a massive threat, and they should get out there. So right now we have Hunter, Tevin, and Liz all gunning for Soda, and Soda seemingly none the wiser.
Yeah, I think Soda's just a little too obvious, getting a little too comfortable with her social skills. Just a little bit. I think, yeah. And I think that's with Nami of not having gone to tribal, they're getting a little comfortable.
Yeah.
And I think Tevin recognizes that about Soda. Mm-hmm. He's getting a little too comfortable. This was kind of the Caleb thing of Caleb being a little social butterfly. And then as soon as, he was swapped. No, he didn't swap. He went to visit another tribe, right?
Correct.
They all started worrying he's a social little butterfly. Now what's going to happen with him meeting other people face to face?
He became a target in that sense.
Yeah, and I worry that at the first sign of tribe swap or anything like that, Soda's target level goes up.
I agree. Yeah, it's the thing of to be, and I we're obviously been reviewing the new era seasons of Scurvivor, but it's very apparent that to be a great player, you have to be balanced in all 3. Obviously, I think that's fair to say. I think that's always a thing that's fair to say. That to be a really good player, you have to be balanced at all 3. And not just balanced at all 3, but be able to turn some things up, some things down at different moments.
Subtlety is key.
And more importantly, especially the new era, subtlety. Soda being very social and not really subtle about it set alarms in Tevin's eyes and was like, okay, we got to go for her. And Hunter reaping the benefits of that, that being like, oh yeah, that's fine. You can get her out. That's your idea. I'm fine with that. I really love that, by the way, as a social strat move from Hunter. Being like, oh yeah, that was my number 1 anyways. But Tevin, that's your idea. I agree. Let's go with that.
Yeah. I love your idea, Tevin. Great idea, Tevin. That is a wonderful idea that you have had, Tevin. Tevin, what a wonderful, wonderful plan, Tevin.
And yeah, I thought that was a good move on Hunter's part. And that's the last of Nami we see basically in this episode, other than the immunity challenge. So just like Siga, where basically the only other thing we see from Siga is that Mariah reveals that she can't jump because they find in the tree mail that's going to be a jumping challenge.
So here's my thing.
We get a whole practice montage of Mariah. But yes, go ahead.
During that, I think that I would like to know the skill involved with, and like, really how do the camera guys keep their shit together is what I want to know.
It was amazing to watch someone. I've always thought jumping was an innate human thing, and to actively see someone that
she goes lower.
Yeah,
her legs just flop out from behind her.
Her legs flop up behind her, and it's almost like she's trying to dive midair.
She like belly flops but catches herself.
Yeah,
I don't know how they kept their shit together.
She jumps.
10,000 points to all the camera people for not losing their shit.
Mariah jumps.
For their professionalism.
Mariah jumps horizontally.
Yeah. But that's not even.
Not even distance.
Like, she couldn't even do a long jump.
She jumps in place horizontally.
Yeah.
I was dumbfounded by that.
It was a sight. And to be there, shooting it, knowing what is coming, like, in your head, you're probably piecing together some sort of edit, and you're probably laughing to yourself. Like, 10,000 points for all the camera operators for their professionalism. And our fan has left the room. Apparently, this is not as entertaining as we thought it was. Our fan has found other modes of entertainment and has left.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, he was bored, sleeping on the floor.
So our studio audience is now empty.
Yes, that is true. Let's get to the immunity challenge, why don't we? You have to climb a little platform tower thing, jump off, just jump off. Typically we see them jumping off, grabbing something, but they're just jumping off here. Swim over. They get a net of buoys that are underground. Get 2 of those, but each person has to swim and do stuff. Then you have to throw the buoys into like baskets, and then you win. That's the immunity challenge. The sit-outs here are Maria, Tevin, and Jem are the 3 sit-outs. What do you think of this immunity challenge?
Well, I think that Mariah kind of fucked herself by sitting out of the last one.
Yes, so she was forced to jump.
But in my opinion, it's not really jumping.
It's more falling.
It's more falling. I think she thought she was gonna have to jump off the platform and like grab the key kind of thing.
Which is typically what we've seen from the show.
She would have been fucked.
Correct.
Like, absolutely fucked.
Screwed, yes.
I think she got lucky here.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think during the what did Soda did this like hand on heart shit. What was that about? Like,
that was the reward challenge from earlier when Nami shows up and Randon's not there. I think.
No, I just wrote it down.
You wrote it here?
Yeah.
Oh. I don't remember when exactly that was, but there is a moment that was like Soda reacting to something that you and I were like, "What is she? Why is she reacting like that?"
Yeah, it was weird.
I don't quite remember.
I just made a note of that. Banu.
Yes, Banu. Yet again.
Banu.
So Banu is there. I think Yanu is at a decent pace. Hunter is very good and finishes first. Then Tim. And Yanu's in there. Banu is second for Yanu. He skips jumping off the crate and instead just dives off his platform and gets the buoys. But as Jeff scolds him, he did not jump off the crate. He has to go back and redo that and then get the buoys and everything. So that sets Yanu completely behind, where they lose a good amount of time. They end up kind of catching up a little bit.
They made up some good time.
Yeah, Siga gets all the buoys first. Then Nami and Yanu, actually, for some reason, Nami despite Hunter's really solid lead, they slow down significantly to the point where Nami and Yanu, at least editing-wise, were timed out being able to do the basketball stuff at the same time.
Yeah, because it seemed like they had one person left on the platform when Yanu still had two.
Yeah.
But somehow the last person, I think it was either Kenzie or Tiff, I can't remember, went before the last Nami person.
Yes.
So somebody on their team was a really slow swimmer.
Yes. Slow swimmer, or Tiff was extremely fast, or a combination of the two. But something happened where, despite a massive lead for Nami, they pretty much lost it to the point where they were almost dead even with Yanu, who had a massive detriment in Banu's mistake. But then we get to the basketball.
Why did you put Banu in the water?
Yeah, so they put Banu in the water, and he's incredibly slow at swimming to the point where he's eating up a lot of time, and he's just like kind of doggy paddling out there. When it needs to be the one that's getting the rebounds for Q to be throwing more balls out there.
And I get it that like they probably didn't put Tiff in the water because they probably wanted to have someone to switch out if Q got tired.
Sure, and I think that's a fair strategy, completely fair strategy.
But don't you think even Kenzie would have been a faster swimmer than Banu? I don't know.
I think there's an argument that Kenzie would have been a faster swimmer, but then Kenzie and Banu should have switched to second and fourth, in the order that they were going, right?
So she had more time to rest.
So that she had time to rest. The idea of Banu being the swimmer there was that he was the second most restful person after Q.
Yeah, and I think the reason they switched is like Tiff probably realized like Q's not going to tire out, like he'll be fine. I've got to get in the water because what's going to eat up time is the swimming and the rebounds. Like, we just got to get in the ball.
And they didn't really. Because ultimately...
well, they were close.
That's correct. Nami wins. Hunter's great. He demolishes this challenge yet again. There's a moment, I didn't say it, but when he jumps off the platform, he like flies through the air where he jumps so far he almost lands on the next platform. Insane. This man is insane. But yeah, so Nami wins. Siga, and comes down to Siga and Yanu. They're very close. But Siga ends up getting the win. Tim ends up nailing it after struggling with the platform a little bit.
After losing his second fight with the platform.
Yes, and Yanu loses. Again, they could have maybe won if Banu didn't mess up earlier or he wasn't taking so long to swim. So everyone's sort of pointing at Banu, so much so that after the immunity challenge, before we cut to commercial, we do individual interviews with Kenzie, Tiff, and Q, where all of them say that they talk a little bit and then say, and that is why I'm voting Banu tonight.
Here's my thing. Why?
This is the great controversial take that we have for you this episode, listeners of the show. Let us explain, Jess, please, why it's actually, potentially, we actually have no idea if this is true, a dumb idea to vote Banu this episode.
Here's the thing. I understand the knee-jerk reaction to be like, we lost a challenge because of this man. He's holding us back. We need freaking food. We need Flint, right? But why?
Yeah.
First of all, you have three people left.
After Tribal Council, you'll have 3 people.
You'll have 3 people left. If you lose again, there is probably a tribe swap.
Well, no, not even if they lose again.
After Tribal Council, there will probably be a tribe swap. Or you will probably have someone added to your tribe or whatever.
If it's anything about last episode, then potentially there's a tribe swap next episode. Which is where, they took the Lulu people and split them up. To be fair, Randon went home, so I don't know if that affects anything. But there is a tribe swap probably happening.
Yeah. So you are either that or you're close to the merge. Because
sure,
they would have to, if Yanu dwindled away, they would have to switch everybody. So Here's my thing. Why would you not vote out Kenzie?
Or Q or Tiff, but yeah.
No, but I'm saying Q and Tiff
I agree
are not going to vote each other.
I agree.
Why would you not vote out Kenzie? Because here's the thing. Most likely, there will be a tribe swap.
Yes.
And then you have like Banu is somebody else's problem.
Correct. Because if it's anything like the last season, where they completely redid the tribes and they split up Lulu and remade Lulu basically, then all the Lulu people got split up immediately to the next three tribes. If it's anything like that, Q, Tiff, and Banu, what we're pitching, would all be on separate tribes.
And your problem with Kenzie, right, is that you don't trust her. She's manipulative and a mastermind.
A social strategic butterfly.
Which is not their worry until the merge.
Correct.
You have 3 people left.
Correct.
There's most likely going to be a pseudo merge, as in there's going to be an opportunity for you guys to merge with other people. Reshuffling.
Yeah.
It's basically like that. Now she's a bigger threat. She has like insider information on you guys. She knows about like how you work and operate. And now she's going to another tribe where she can make alliances, and you know that like her going to another tribe
is dangerous for your game.
She could easily fit in anywhere. Banu going to another tribe is going to be voted out the second that they lose.
It could even be so detrimental to the tribe that they lose challenges because of him.
And he's already spilled your secrets.
So it doesn't matter.
It doesn't really matter. Why would you not take this opportunity? And I get it. Like, again, they're hungry. They want their Flint.
There's also no promise that there's a reshuffling next episode.
No, but even
we are going off that presumption.
But even if there isn't, like, they're not going to let them get down to 2 tribe members.
No.
So if there is a third,
there's something has to happen in the next episode, because there's no way we're going to have a tribe of 6, tribe of 5, and then a tribe of 3.
Yeah, you are now at 4 people, about to be 3 people. Tribe strength can no longer really be your goal, because no matter what, like, you have to vote. Like, you are dwindling.
Yeah.
And I get that it's more important that you have stronger members. I get that. You're going to be down anyway. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It just feels like it's highly likely that there will be a reshuffling. I don't know if you want Kenzie milling about there where you have no ability to get rid of her until the merge.
I completely agree.
Banu will not last. There's no world in which Banu lasts unless he ends up on Siga and they end up loving him and like he sticks around for a bit and then they vote him off after the merge.
Yeah.
I feel like it's controversial, but like I would have probably voted for Kenzie.
I think it's fair. The one aspect that is different of a reshuffle thing is that last year only Lulu went home week after week after week. With Randon causing a hiccup there, you can't do an even split of all the tribes again.
Didn't someone get medevaced last?
I don't believe so. I think you're thinking of not Jonathan. Something? Andrew?
Matthew?
Yes, Matthew of the season prior. Last season, it was just Lulu back to back to back, so that when they did the reshuffling, it was now 3 tribes of 5 yet again. Here, it would be 1 tribe of 4, I believe, and 2 tribes of 5. Because they would not be able to do that. So that would have to be something different. I think that's the only evidence to support that they're not going to do something. But I ultimately think, and I agree with you, that they're probably going to do something next episode, because you really can't have a tribe of 3 people.
And if they don't, you vote out Banu again, because whatever. But like, I still think you should take the opportunity to get rid of Kenzie while you have the numbers before either she gets traded to she goes to another tribe, or you get the merge.
For all we know, the merge could be next episode.
Yeah.
I don't get the impression that it is based on the preview.
If an entire tribe goes away.
Yeah. If Yanu loses again and they're down to 2 people, the merge is the next episode after that.
They're gonna what? They're gonna sit 4 people out from Nami?
Yeah. Yeah. And that would also be episode 6, which is typically when the merge happens, right?
I think if they have to sit out more than 3 people, I think they're gonna do a tribe reshuffle.
100%. It's just a question of whether or not it's going to happen next episode. And if it does, I completely agree with you. Kenzie, even if you want to argue Q or Tiff, but I think Kenzie is the bigger threat on the tribes.
Think the idea is that any of them, but I think that the vote would have been Kenzie. I don't think Tiff or Q would vote against each other.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yes.
I think it would have been Kenzie. But I mean, any of them, you take the opportunity to get rid of a bigger player, knowing that you will probably lose again. And you know what? Who cares? You're going to lose again.
Yeah.
I mean, or there's going to be a tribe reshuffling. I don't know. I think the last episode was the chance to get rid of Banu.
Correct.
With an opportunity to win this episode.
Yes.
Without Banu.
Yes.
But they didn't.
Correct.
So now you get rid of Kenzie.
Correct. Who knows? Who knows? If there was a tribe reshuffle or some sort of tribe swap happening, give me one person from each tribe that would benefit from being on a different tribe, one person from each tribe that will hurt their game by being on another tribe. So starting with Nami, let's just start with Yanu actually, because that's super easy. There's only 3 people. Kenzie, Tiff, and Q. Who would benefit from a tribe reshuffle? Who will have a hurt game because of a tribe reshuffle?
I mean, Kenzie would definitely benefit.
I think she will benefit. The only problem being that all of Banu's secrets revealed were that Kenzie's a major target. So any tribe she goes to, she's going to be seen as a threat. But I think she's a good enough player to outdo that threat. So I agree with you.
Yeah, I think Tiff and Q would both have hard times.
I think
Q would do a little bit better.
I actually think Q will have a harder time because if he goes to like a Sega dominated tribe and tries to start coaching them.
Oh yeah.
The
thing about Sega is they're a collective.
Correct.
They are a co-op.
Correct.
They don't have a boss.
Correct.
They don't have a parent. They are a collective.
If he starts coaching someone that isn't appreciative of that, they will vote him out because they don't want that.
Yeah, they are a collective. They are a we.
And I think Tiff can make it through. I
think Tiff could be. Yeah, that's fair.
Nami. We have Hunter, Soda, Venus. I think Venus
would benefit from a tribe swap.
Number one for Bullet. Maybe Soda as well, but I think Venus number 1, obviously. Liz and Tevin, who out of those 4, I guess, would have the what's the opposite of benefits? Have a disadvantage going to another tribe.
I don't know. I feel like Tevin could easily
get along with
more people. I think
Tevin on Sega would be interesting.
I think even Soda in what is now Sega would probably do okay.
Mm-hmm. Hunter, I think, could be fine. Really depends. We haven't really seen much of his like social game, him interacting with other people, you know?
We've seen the one-on-ones.
Yeah.
But like in a group he kind of just, and I think it's because of Soda like being so enthusiastic.
Yes. That
he kind of is in the background a little bit.
Yeah.
But
there's not really, I think, a clear distinction person here.
No.
Sega. All of them be hurt because they'll lose part of their collective hive mind.
Yeah.
I kind of think Charlie would be hurt because he is in a power position. So moving to a different tribe would hurt him. It depends on who would go with him.
Yeah.
But he could be hurt in some sort of tribe reshuffle.
Like if he and Maria ended up on the same tribe, I think he'd be okay.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I think Mariah could actually have some help being on a different tribe because she's not really doing much here.
Yeah.
Tim maybe as well, that with more guys maybe. There's a lot of people that could help them. But maybe there's not a lot of people that can really be hurt by this. So that'll be interesting, I guess, when it comes to the merge eventually.
Yeah. Do we want to ask our fan that question? Because our fan is back.
Tuk Tuk, what do you think? Oh, you're looking at the wires? Great. Don't unplug the computer. So back to the show. Banu has no vote. He looks for the idol. He doesn't find the idol. He then starts blaming God for his troubles. He falls to his knees and begs Tiff in what is probably the cringiest moment of reality television I've ever seen.
This is where it just gets sad.
Yes.
It really does. Though the eavesdropping is all I've ever wanted. We watched Traitors.
Traitor. Are you trying to do a Alan Cumming impression?
Yeah.
Traitor. I can't do Scottish.
Traitors.
Ooh, not bad.
Thank you. And all I want from that show is really for someone to hide in a suit of armor. That's like
number one.
But I just want a lot more. Someone to hide in a room and eavesdrop on people.
Yeah, I want someone in a closet.
That's what I want.
Listening in.
Yeah, for sure. And I kind of got that a little bit with Banu eavesdropping on them on the beach, talking about him. I think the saddest moment of television was it Kenzie who comes up to him and goes, "You okay?" He goes, "I'm not here." Hands her the coconut and walks away.
Oh, Bond is so overly dramatic. I love the.
What do you do with a whole day waiting for tribal when you're the one going home? You have no vote. You can't find an idol. You have no way to stop it.
And everyone's voting for you.
What do you do?
He tried. He literally begged on his knees. Now here's the thing online. Last week especially, I really went in on Banu, and I didn't really see that too much last week from fans. I saw it more of this week, really questioning casting choices. This week, you and I both described this episode as less boring as the previous episode. There is a thing about Banu creating very great television. And that is the whole premise, I think, of his casting, is that he is someone that can create great television, because this, despite how sad and cringy it became, it evoked emotion from us, whereas the week prior was boring.
It was so boring.
So I think there is merit to his casting, despite it being bad.
It's but
let it be clear.
I mean, but
I don't want this.
How much merit can you give it to, obviously the episode where someone knows they're going home is
oh, yes,
gonna be more interesting than just every day with them doing the same thing. So I don't know if you can I don't know. It's kind of
is it? Does the end justify the means? Get to this point,
you had 2 or 3 episodes of boring television for one episode of okay television. I mean, he's a great character to have in this position to go home, because you just get a whole day of him sulking, yelling,
falling onto the sand my life is over.
Yeah.
He goes through all the stages of grief.
He's 5 seconds of honesty ruined my game. No, Banu, your game ruined your game.
Does he go through all stages of grief? I said that as a throwaway, but hold on. Let's
At least the way they edit it. But my favorite, it's just are you okay? I'm not. Here.
Okay.
Here's a coconut.
Let's talk about this. Does Banu go through the 5 stages of grief in this episode?
Okay.
Denial.
Yes.
Well, give me the moment.
I had so much power in this game.
Yes, that's correct. I had so much power in this game. 2, anger.
Yes, yelling at, cursing at the sky, at God.
Yeah, I can agree with that. This is one very easy. Bargaining.
Yes, begging on his knees.
Begging on his knees. Depression.
Laying on the beach in the sand. My life is over.
And finally, number 5, acceptance. I wrote this down. He becomes very zen, and he comes to the realization that honesty doesn't matter. And then he thanks the island and heads off the tribal council. So yes, this episode, we see all 5 stages of grief in Banu. And that made a story arc unfolded in front of us. All 4 got shafted through in the past 5 minutes of television. But he went through all 5 stages, if you can believe it.
I believe it. Oh, we have a second fan that has entered the room.
Yeah, they want food now. Hey, Baby Speed.
What my thing is, when we get to tribal,
and we have gotten to tribal,
so Banu can lie.
Oh, there's 2 takeaways. Number 1 is your first takeaway, which is Banu can lie. Because what is his reveal here?
He reveals that the backstory he gave them is not entirely accurate. So he can lie.
Number 2, the thing I picked up on, Jeff asked him a question, and he reveals all the knowledge that he knows.
Because why would he bother doing what Q told him to do when he knows he's going home?
Which is true.
What is the point of putting that effort in?
Which is completely true. He's going home. So what's the honest point? But I do think it's funny that this episode we get a moment where Coach Q is trying to train him how to be a better player and not give Jeff all the information that he can lie to Jeff and all this stuff. And then when it comes down to it, even though it didn't matter, he just couldn't do it at all.
He learned
nothing.
Which
ultimately proves the whole character arc, I guess, if you want to say. Not even character arc, but the character of Banu is that he doesn't learn anything.
Yeah.
Oof, baboof. Any other things from Tribal? Everyone says they're voting out Banu. Jeff, which I think is very funny, like I said, Banu becomes very zen earlier. He says that honesty doesn't matter. Jeff reveals in a very funny twist that, you know, what's crazy, Banu, is that everyone's very, very upfront with you about they're all voting for you, and they're explaining why. They're giving you what you want, which is honesty. And in that moment when Jeff's describing, they sort of cut closer, punch into Banu, and his eyes are like wide open, and he's like he is hearing something that is upsetting him, which is just like, holy shit, I can't believe after all of this he is right. They are being honest with me, and I'm not listening to them. I wonder why, Banu.
Oh, man.
And
well, here's the age-old question that we have to ask ourselves. Knowing that Banu is going home.
Yes.
Did Banu win 1,000,000 hearts?
Now, about 4 million people watch Survivor every week. So we're talking about 25% here. Right?
Yeah.
That's... I don't know. Based on everything I read, so many people were negative about Banu. Everywhere I looked, Twitter, or I guess X, Reddit, various forums and stuff, everywhere I looked, no one said a positive thing about Banu or his casting. So I don't really know. Obviously, that's not 4 million people I saw, but I never saw a single person. Even former players of Survivor didn't speak too highly of Banu. So I don't really know. I don't really think he won 1,000,000 hearts, in my view.
Sorry, Banu, but the world has spoken.
Banu is out. He leaves without a vote. They just said, okay, see ya.
Well, he leaves without a vote and no vote.
And no vote, so nothing really matters. Banu is gone. We kind of gave our whole thoughts on Banu. I don't really think we need to talk more about him and give sort of a end of Banu character, a moratorium.
Nah, I think we're good.
I think we're good on Banu. So that's it. That's this episode of Survivor. Yes, I know. We'll get to the points. I'm wrapping up the end of the episode. Don't give me that face. We have now our points to dish out. Let's talk MVP first before we get to the points. MVP.
Banu.
Insane. I'll one up you, Jelinski.
Oh my God.
Get him some back points. That's how much of a legend he is. MVP this episode. There's one person in my mind that really struck out to me. Do you have someone in mind? I know before we talked this episode, you were in between two people. Do you have sort of formulated in your head who is going to be your MVP this episode?
I don't want to give you points. I don't.
Okay.
I don't want to give you points.
Okay.
I don't want to give him points, so I really don't want to do the MVP because the only person that I could think of is on his team, and I just don't want to give him the points. So, okay.
I have my MVP. Do you have your MVP?
Yeah, you didn't hear any of that, did you?
I did not,
no,
actually.
Okay, cool. Go.
Ready? We'll say it at the same time. 3, 2, 1. Hunter. Yeah, I think I agree. So that's 10 points for Hunter. Why do you say Hunter?
I mean, the dude, crushed it and, carried the team, and just, played it really cool.
Another episode
Tevin.
Where he's great. And yes, you brought up the point I was going to say, that Tevin pitched him an idea, which is something that he's already doing, which allowed Tevin to take whatever heat for that vote.
Yeah, he's just so mad about it.
He's good at this game so far.
Yeah, but you got 55 points.
We'll get to the points. So, okay, Hunter gets 5 bonus points each. That brings him 10 points immediately. So that's good for my game. Let's go through the different teams. For the points, Jess.
Ryan's team. Ryan, you have Hunter, and Hunter got 11 points for the group award, group immunity, and surviving the week. You have Venus.
Well, that brings Hunter now to 21.
Yeah. 21?
Okay. 21.
You have Venus, who also has 11 points for one group award, one group immunity, and survive the week. Could have had points for hiding a fake idol, but she didn't get that far. Oh, no, wait, that's Gem. Wrong tribe.
But Gem is also on my team.
Gem is also on. That's who I was looking at when I was saying that, because I'm on next. Gem. One group immunity, survive the week, 6 points. I need to stop skipping around because I'm...
Yeah, do it in the order that's best for you.
Yeah, I need to stop skipping around because I'm looking at people's names and then I'm saying other... Okay, hold on. Okay. Hunter 11.
Yes.
Venus 11.
Correct.
Did I do Gem yet?
6.
Okay, 6 points. Q, 11 points. Group award, said a curse word, survive the week. Mariah, 6 points. One group immunity, survive the week.
That gives me 55 points for this episode.
Yeah. Bummer. I just need to... Next time I'm going to go in order of that they have it.
Okay,
I'm,
that's fine. Whatever.
I'm scrolling around and I'm mixing up people.
Whatever's best for you, Beanie.
Okay, Tiff. 6 points. One group award, survive the week. Though...
Yes.
We added 5 points because Tiff said a curse word on camera.
She said bitch like in the first 4 minutes of the episode. You can go back and check when she's talking to Kenzie about what Banu said, and they didn't bleep it. And I was like trying to, like, we watched it 3 or 4 times and I was like, why did they not bleep it?
I was trying to figure out if she was saying something else, but she said bitch.
Yeah. I said that you're exactly right. Like, is she saying something else and not bitch? But she says it 100%, not cursed at all, not bleeped at all. But yeah, so we're gonna give her those extra points, those extra 5 points, because she definitely cursed.
Yeah.
Or at least it felt like she cursed this episode.
So yeah.
How many points did she get then?
11 points.
Okay.
Soda, 11 points for the usual. Kenzie, 6 points, one group award, survive the week. Ben, 11 points, one group immunity, cried on camera, survive the week. For a total of 39 points.
Correctamundo. 39 points. You only have 4 people on your team here.
Not my best week.
Not your best week. Definitely not your best week. You had 130 episode 1, 74 episode 2, and here 39. We gave you an extra 5 points for the for a TIFF. So that gives you 39 points.
Tevin on Jerry's team. We got Tevin, 11 points for the usual. We got Liz with 11 points for the usual. Charlie with 6 points, one group immunity, survive the week. Maria, 16 points, one group immunity, cried on camera, found an advantage, and survived the week. Which the found an advantage might be pretty controversial.
We're still unsure about that, especially with who gets that lost vote.
Right.
But maybe the fact that they didn't dive into it this episode, maybe it won't matter. I don't know.
Yeah.
But we're going to give her that one.
If someone finds a fake idol, they don't usually give points for finding an advantage.
No.
They give the person points for hiding or for someone finding their
fake idol. Or even playing their fake idol. Here, they gave her an advantage. And we talked about this. Like, the Beware advantage, literally in this instance, is the piece of paper.
Yeah.
So, what they would have discovered was a box that was unopenable. So, as far as we can tell, she has the advantage now, which in theory means she also lost her vote, but we didn't see that. And I think they even cut that out when she was reading the Beware advantage. So,
yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
And Banu. How many points did Banu get?
Banu got 15 points. One group award, cried on camera, said a curse word. For a total, for Jerry, of 59 points.
Yes, 59 points for her. She got the most this episode. Friend of the show, Jerry, got 59 points. Because of Hunter, I got 55 points, and you got 39 points. So this was the most points that Jerry has gotten this season so far. And like you said, this was the least amount of points by far. Me, 65, 75, 55. So I'm all over the place. But I'm more consistent, I guess. Jerry, slowly increasing. You, rapidly declining in point totals. But what that means for points to date is you are at 243 points, still in the lead. I am in second still at 195 points. And Jerry is in third with 159 points.
We're proud of you, Jerry.
So yeah, that is all the totals for this episode. I am very close. I have a full team. I'm the only one with a full team now. Everyone else has
brag
4.
about it, don't you?
I am. You're interrupting my brag.
Deserved.
Fair enough. And yeah, and so we'll see, I guess, what happens next episode. You and I are fully expecting some sort of tribe reshuffling of some sort.
If there is, I'll be upset they didn't get rid of Kenzie. I mean, not because she's on my team, so I'm not too upset. But I just think it would have been a better move.
I agree with that. If they don't do a tribe reshuffle for some reason, who do you think right now would be going home?
From Yanu?
Yanu.
Because we're expecting Yanu to lose again?
Oh, yeah. Let's just say, who do you think will be expecting to go home from Yanu, Nami, or Sika?
I think Kenzie is going home if it's Yanu.
Yep.
I think Siga, there's not enough to know.
But there's really a lot of heat going on Tim right now because everyone thinks Tim planted the Beware advantage. Plus 4 people already gunning for Tim before that, so that just helps his cause or hurts his cause.
That's true. Tim's a possibility. Nami?
Soda?
Or Venus?
I think it's Soda or Venus there.
Yeah.
And I think I agree with that. I don't really think there's anyone else from Siga, really. Unless someone discovers what Gem did.
Yeah. We'll find out.
I think until then, I think we're good. Because she's playing it real well. Which is great, because I love all those answers, because the only person on my team is Venus. That is it for this week's episode of Scurvivor Series. But before we go, Jess, what is your sort of plug for the audience this week? What do you want? What's happened this week that you want the audience to check out?
Drink water.
This drink water tends to be a drop every week.
Yeah.
On this show.
Well, it's my stall while I think of something else.
Which is ironic because this one doesn't apply to me, folks. It applies to young Jessaru over here. Didn't drink water, had to go to the urgent care.
Yeah. It happens. Shit happens. Plug for this week.
What was something you enjoyed in the past week that you want people to know about?
I don't enjoy things. I just go to work.
Yeah, when you're working, it's really hard to enjoy things.
Yeah.
I get that. I get that completely.
Yeah. Have you ever... Here's my plug. You got a peanut butter and jelly, right? So you're making that.
Uh-huh.
You get to work, you get to school, whatever. You open that shit up.
Okay.
You take, ideally, Fritos.
Yes.
But kettle chips or even regular potato chips will suffice. You crunch them up.
Crunch.
You spread them in your sandwich.
Crunch
you put it back together. You eat it. You're welcome. That's all I got.
Is to put Fritos on a peanut butter sandwich?
Peanut butter and jelly sandwich. It's not. Nobody eats peanut butter sandwiches but you, okay?
I like them.
This man eats just peanut butter on bread.
No,
like banana and honey. No, like jelly.
Gross.
Banana. What? Who? What? 6 years later, and I'm now wondering. 7 years.
Who is
this man that I've married?
I started putting jelly on my sandwiches.
Not on your peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Yeah.
You don't eat PBJs.
I've started to put light jelly to ease into PB&Js.
Yes, you've heard it here first, folks. He's dipping his toe into jellies. He's
I'm dipping my toe into jelly.
You're easing it to. It's a gateway to jams.
Jelly, the gateway drug of jams. That's it for this week's episode of Scurvivor Series. We'll be back next week for another one. And I guess maybe if it's not this week, then maybe next week will be the merge episode or so, and we'll have to invite Jerry back on the show.
We'll have to? You mean we get to?
It's actually required by law.
Yeah, we did.
We're her serfs.
Yeah.
That is it for this week's episode. We'll be back next week for an all new one. Goodbye, everybody.